once every generation, there comes an event that alters how we perceive our world. That changes our expectations of what is possible. This is not really one of those events. But hey, Toxic Radio has a brand new studio, and that fucking rocks. So join us in celebrating our excellent new home. Toxic Radio. Awesomer than ever before. What? That is so a word.
Master, dinner is served. Igor, it's not that I don't appreciate the effort, but you know I prefer my meals uncooked. And how many times have I told you about using garlic? Yes, Master. Forgive me, Master. Please. Bite into Paradelphia. Thursday nights at 8, only on Toxic Radio. Paradelphia, because what if it's all true?
Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really. Aww. But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Hungry for Hope Nation, your host here, Donnie Hart, and I am joined by my co-host, my friend, the man of the hour.
I'm going to be outdone anyway, but I got to keep it consistent.
Big time! Tim Gudge! That was great, Tim, but I got some bad news for you, Tim. You're known for your announcing yourself, man. But, I got to announce our guest, man. You know what? I think our guest is going to announce himself. Guest, are you here?
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to Toxic Radio's Hungry for Hope podcast. I'm the golden voice, Stephan Benson, your then, now, and forever WWE 2K Games $1 Million World Champion.
Stephan, you looking for work as a co-host?
Maybe a little bit.
On a serious note, Stephan, man, it's so awesome to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming, man. When I reached out to you, you were all about it, man. Me and you go back. You announced my first professional wrestling match.
I remember the exact introduction I gave you.
Yeah, man. That was pretty cool. I was like, you were great. I always was a big fan, but it was cool that now you're on my show, and now I'm interviewing you. And it was over at the Monster Factory. How long ago was that, Stephan?
Last time I was there full time was 2014, but I've done a couple events.
Yeah, so it was probably I started in 2012, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But we got back there. Aaron Gainey was a good friend of yours. He was a mentor of mine, a mentor of yours. He was Nigerian Nightmares.
Absolutely.
I think he started bringing you over. Was that the connection?
Yeah, he discovered me at a wrestling event in the parking lot, just trying to announce wrestlers, trying to get noticed. That was before I even started on any independents, and he tells the story like this. I was announcing in Chicky and Pete's inside the Wells Fargo, the little restaurants. And he said, I swear to God, I thought you were a 30-year-old bald white guy when you were announcing. Only Aaron, of course. And then he saw me. He was like, a young brother trying to make it. And he was like, you know what? Let me give you a chance. Now, my issue was that because I didn't have the proper etiquette at the time in the wrestling world. It's my first time being there. I didn't know how to carry myself, so I kind of marked out at my first wrestling event, I will admit. And it was at Triple WA with Dino Santa. And
Dino Santa, great guy.
He is. Gave me a huge opportunity there. And I initially started ring announcing, and then they said, you know what? While you're great at ring announcing, let's ease you more into that spotlight and have you be our manager. And that's how I learned to be better on the mic, be more comfortable with, being the center of attention, bringing them out. So he started my wrestling career. He gave me my start, and I'll forever be thankful, because without him, I don't think I'd be where I am today.
That's awesome, man. Now tell us, you've done all these great things, but let's go back to young Stephan. Were you always a wrestling fan? What got you into? You tell us your story. Growing up, what was your childhood like? Have you always been a fan?
I've always been a wrestling fan. My dad was a fan first, so he kind of, that's what we were watching. Like, pretty much when I came home from the hospital when I was born, I was in my little baby seat, and I may not have known what I was watching, but I was watching pro wrestling, and eventually it grew on me, and I started ring announcing. Once I was old enough to know what it was, I started to mimic Howard Finkel and their announcers until I developed my own style, my own sound, and I went to wrestling events for years with family and friends, and then I started going on my own, and that's when I started doing the introductions in the parking lot, meeting the wrestlers, and giving me those opportunities.
So is that how? Yeah, that's one thing I always stuck out about me, man. You're really, I kind of told you, it reminded me of like the guy who's selling his mixtape out of the back of a trunk.
Pretty much.
And who's just pushing it, man. He has that dream. That's what I always liked about you. Aaron talked about how he found you. You would just go to events. You weren't hired for him. You would just go there. You would look the part. You would dress up. You had it amazing. You knew you had the talent. You just knew somebody had to see it. Was that tell us how you became announcing at these events and stuff.
I knew I always wanted to work for WWE, and at one point I wanted to wrestle. And while that's a story for another time, unfortunately that dream was taken away from me. So I had to figure out another way to get involved in pro wrestling and follow my dream to some extent, or just another fashion. And so I started investing in dress clothes, and I always liked dress clothes, so I think you can tell. And started going to the wrestling events, ring announcing. Before I even announced wrestlers, I was just announcing for fans while music was playing from the car, and then eventually the wrestlers took notice. And one of the first wrestlers I ever introduced was John Morrison, and I remember his exact response when I introduced him. He said, "You got to announce me like that no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm carrying my luggage or eating a bowl of cereal." And then I announced him eating a bowl of cereal. And
he was with WWE?
Mm-hmm, this was years ago, like I want to say 05-ish, 06-ish, something like that.
So the thing, I like, you did this, but people like him, people saw your talent, man. You might have just came there, you weren't hired, but when somebody knows talent, all these wrestlers, they kind of took you in, like opened their arms and let you do it. Am I right?
They did. They gave me opportunities and basically stuck their neck out for me, because I could have said and done anything. Anybody could have. And the opportunities that they gave me helped me to believe in myself, and something that we were talking about earlier, the aptly named podcast, Hope. That gave me hope that I had an opportunity to not only just showcase my talent, but grow, learn, pay my dues, and one day make it to the big leagues. And it's just those wrestlers believing in me made me believe in myself.
Yeah, so like you always knew, when we have a dream, we know, like, we believe in ourselves sometimes. You probably saw in your picture, your head, that you could be in WWE, but actually seeing other people who were big time in the industry and actually them accepting you, man, you must have been like, I'm on the right path, man. All them days out in these parking lots and
hot days,
dressing up in suits.
Sunburn, let's not forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like them believing in you. It makes you think, if they're believing in me, I can get millions of people to believe in me genuinely, not putting on some act, being who I am, being the Golden Voice. That's not some gimmick. That's just who I was born to be. That's who I was born, the Golden Voice. And that's something that I had to work on over years and, polish my craft, as with anything. And for all the opportunities I've gotten in the pro wrestling world, on the independents and the big leagues, no matter where, thank you to any and everybody. To all the fans, to current, followers, friends, family, you name it, Donnie, you, like one of my biggest supporters. And I remember being in the Wells Fargo Center parking lot when we were passing out flyers for the Monster Factory event, and I did some interviews. It was hot. I think that was the day I got sunburned.
Me, you, Tommy Macklin, Steve Cutler, who was with WWE, Shaheem Ali. That was a great time, man. Bozart was there, the one guy. I like them people. They were all a fun time, man. I was looking at pictures the other day. So now that's how you started. You were doing it in parking lots and stuff. When did the Golden Voice go from just picking up a microphone and doing it kind of rogue in a parking lot to actually getting hired and brought into events, professional wrestling events?
That's where Aaron Gainey, my mentor, my teacher, the man who started it all for me, comes in. It was WWE SmackDown Live, and SmackDown Live now, but SmackDown back then. And I was just announcing, and he gave me the opportunity. We exchanged phone numbers after the event, and within not even a day, he texted me, or matter of fact, he called me. He texted me and called me right away. And he said, I might have an opportunity for you. You sound really good. Let's see how you perform in front of a live crowd. It's one thing in front of fans in a parking lot. It's a whole other one that's a structured setting. So once he started me at Triple WA, that was all she wrote. While I had my first event was a mark out event, and there's video of it. I will let you know for those who want to look for it.
So yeah, Aaron Gainey was the first one who really gave you a chance, and then Dino down at Triple WA. So how was it when these guys gave you a chance? Were you a little nervous actually taking your act from the parking lot, not planned, to an actual event where they were bringing you in, they were hiring you to do a job? Was it any different?
I wouldn't say nervous. It was just unsure of what is that etiquette? How am I supposed to act? Like, obviously, be an adult and try to be responsible and respectful, but there's a specific, and anybody who's involved in pro wrestling or has somebody that knows there's a specific etiquette in pro wrestling that you have to follow or you're out. And, he taught me that early on, verbally. It took some time, hence that first mark out. I'm even embarrassed about that, but hey, it is what it is. And because of that first event, that's when they transitioned me into being their manager to make me more comfortable on the mic. I wasn't nervous. It was just, how do I handle this? And once I got the hang of it, boy, oh boy, it was off to the races then.
So Aaron, who passed away, man,
God rest his soul.
Man, I could talk about him all day. He was such an amazing person, but he was pretty respected in the wrestling world. He was at the Monster Factory. I met him when I started training. He was blowing up. He was doing the Nigerian Nightmare tag team. The Insane Clown Posse were bringing him out, paying him great. They were getting a lot of recognition. They were real respected, and they brought an outsider like you. So, man, he didn't waste his time with people he didn't believe in, and he was so. He helped me so much in my career, but that says a lot about your talent that he brought you in and gave you your first chance. Everything that happened after that was basically. And
even after him having given me that opportunity and kind of screwing up the first time, he still believed in me. And he was like, "Listen, you get a chance. Don't screw up again." You know how Aaron would word it. He would word it so many ways. Can't say it on radio, but you get it. So we traveled up and down those roads. I mean, there were just hours just driving to events. And to me, as corny as it sounds, that was magical to me. I'm on the road with the man who not only gave me my first start in the pro wrestling world, I'm managing a freaking tag team. Something that I always wanted to do. Like, though ring announcing is my main thing, managing is a love of mine now too. And I understand now, what he was trying to teach me. And Aaron gave so many people opportunities, some that didn't make anything of those opportunities or weren't thankful for them, and that's their loss. But I can't thank Aaron and Chuck, his tag team partner, Charles Bell Jr., so much for giving me that platform, giving me that opportunity to grow and show me.
How much did you learn on those road trips? Just going back and forth with experienced guys like that.
The one thing you learn is that you carry the bags. You definitely carry the bags, but I was happy to. It's the least that I can do. I'm getting an opportunity to showcase that. That's the least that I could do for them. And I was happy. Like I said, I was happy to do that. Learning is just how you speak and how your mannerisms, everything. They said if you're going to smile at somebody, let it be a genuine smile. Don't fake smile. So you will never see Stephan Benson walking to any wrestling promotion smiling to be fake just to get an opportunity. No. If it's not genuine, then you're not going to get it. I'm 100% honest all the time. I'm not going to BS people. They're going to know what they're getting when they're getting it. And if they don't like it, screw them. That's as plain and simple as I can put it. There's no sugarcoating.
There you are. We got a picture of you. Who's that? Paul Bearer?
Yes,
the
Paul
Undertaker's
Bearer.
Manager. God rest his soul.
Man.
There's Aaron with the. Is that Aaron with the? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that event.
And there you are, man. That's awesome.
They brought him in, and
how was that? Actually, you said you love being a manager. How was that? You're working with Paul Bearer. I was Undertaker's manager. How was that?
I was the secondary manager at that point, which I was completely fine with.
You were marking out, weren't you?
Okay, so at that point, I had learned how to carry myself. Inside, though, and this has been any event I've worked with, a former WCW or ECW or WWE superstar, I was freaking out. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I remember they took me to this FTW event up in New York, and we were in, I was, managing them. I was going to bring them out. There was X-Pac there and badass Billy Gunn. And I'm sitting there like, there's no freaking way in this world that I'm sitting backstage and I can just go over and talk to them. And it's just, that's what I call magical. It's just like what you grew up watching, and now you're one of the boys. You're hanging around and you're learning, and you're soaking up all of that knowledge and those experiences. And I tell you this, while we've talked about a few experiences, I've got some experiences for you. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, like being you wanted to do this for a long time. You're really a genuine fan of wrestling, man. And not all people get into it are fans. Some people just get in for the wrong reasons. You love this sport. And you started literally in littered parking lots in Philly and bars, and now you're there with these names you grew up watching, man. How did that feel? Were you?
You never. I believe that it was going to happen. It's just a fact of when. You see everybody else that you may have started out with getting these opportunities in these big companies. It doesn't have to just be WWE, anywhere, Impact, you name it, ROH, all that good stuff, and it can be discouraging. It made me at times want to just stop, because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I had to stop there as soon as I said that and think, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing enough? Being up there with names that I grew up with, it's surreal, and they're just so down to earth. People feel they have to treat them a certain way. Just treat them normal, treat them natural. When you're going out of your way to, as they say, be a fan, that's what they don't like. Just be thankful that you're there. Work your ass off. I don't know if that's okay to say that.
Say whatever you want, Stephan.
Work your ass off and go into bigger and better things than you ever thought possible.
Now, I was in the wrestling world, so I know like the stuff you're talking about. Some are fans, like the politics and how you got to handle yourself. Especially we came up. Aaron was old school. My trainer Larry Sharp was old school, so we learned. We kind of knew how the old school. Nowadays, there's a lot of bozos in the business, but I'm talking about when we were doing it. Tell us, was there any people who like? Because you didn't come, it wasn't like you were training for all these years at a school. You came from park line, came in right to a starting job. Did anybody, other announcers, other people ever treat you different or kind of give you a hard time, you think?
Since I've started, no. And everybody was very helpful and welcoming and, willing to give whatever knowledge that I needed to do the job that I needed to do. Everyone's like, you need anything, you just ask us, we got you. But again, it is nerve-wracking. Not nervous, but nerve-wracking. There's a difference. Because you don't know what to expect, how you're going to be received. I know how it was received by WWE fans. It's a whole different thing when you're on independence. Those fans we know are harsh, and it's depending on where you're performing, New York, here in Jersey, Philly, they'll tear you to shreds.
Now, do you watch a lot of independent wrestling, or did you in the past?
I did in the past, and I watched it more proactively when I was like full-time doing ring announcing, and then, of course, we know last year happened, so that stopped a lot for a lot of people.
So, recently I've been tuning into once in a while some of my pay-per-views on some independent wrestling, and you tune in, you see, you talk about it, you come dressed nice, even to the podcast where you could just wear a T-shirt, whatever. But we got some ring announcers that go in there, internet pay-per-view, people are paying $20, could be $30 for them. T-shirt and jeans, hat on.
So here's my message to every single announcer on this planet. That is, whether you're independent or otherwise, you don't dress for the job that you have, you dress for the job that you want. And when you learn that and you do that on a consistent basis, sooner or later, you will get to where you want to be. Jeans, sneakers, a T-shirt, and a hat, that's not the way. Get your cheap ass a suit, get some dress shoes, and treat this business like you respect it. No, as a matter of fact, not treat it like you respect it, respect it. Because there are men and women that put their asses on the line each and every night for you to come looking like you're going hanging out with family at a barbecue. No, we don't do that. I take ring announcing and this business seriously, and anybody that wants to get involved, respect it and work hard. You'll go far if you do.
Bravo, man. Tim knows, because I'm not really involved in the wrestling world, but I'm always telling Tim how I just hate people who don't respect it. You can tell that Aaron Gainey had such an impact on your life. Guys like him, and Larry was the guy who taught him, and there were guys who, they would tell you to go beat up people there. I remember both of them, it's just something they did. They told me, I was wrestling a guy, and they said, that guy's not respecting the business. He's some backyarder, not wearing, they're like, go
Rough
hurt.
him up.
Rough him up. Let him know he doesn't belong in the ring with things that people died for. People gave their life. They missed their kids, their family. They broken bones. They ended up dying from a career in wrestling. And then these people calling themselves pro wrestling, going out there not respecting, wearing non-gear. Like, I just hate it, man. I love that you respect wrestling, man. I feel like people don't do as much nowadays. Do you see that?
They don't, and I'll tell you the level of respect in which I have for pro wrestling. When I started, for the longest time, I stayed single. There was no dating because my passion was pro wrestling, and that deserved my undivided attention. Not saying that having somebody couldn't help, but it also can be a hindrance when you're going to potentially be on the road 300 days a year or however many, just a lot in general.
Right.
So, my dedication, I feel, is unmatched, and I will show that every single day. If anybody ever wants to challenge that, by all means, have at thee. I'm right here.
And we had a question from the chat room. Gene Walzak, he's actually does a podcast after us, Wire to Wire. Wanted to know, has your opinion changed on any wrestlers after meeting them in person instead of watching them on TV, either for the positive or negative?
Everything so far, at least on a big time status, I've never had any problem with any, whether it's WWE, Impact, whatever. I've never had a problem. Everyone's been a class act and genuine. And there's some people that, completely envelop their gimmicks, and they should. If you're a bad guy, you don't want to just be seen, I'm announcing you in the parking lot, but then you're being a complete jerk on TV. I get that. But no, everybody's just been down to earth and genuine. No one's been out of their way to be an ass or anything like that.
Come on, Stephan. There has to be one person that just rubbed you the wrong way, man. I know you're
Yeah,
trying to be
it's
the
gonna
good
be
guy. Is there just one guy? Is there just one guy who just rubbed you
let
wrong?
me think.
Besides Donnie Hart.
I'm trying to think.
You think about it, man.
I'll give you an answer before the end of the show if I can think of one. I
like how you said, like, I at one point, when my wrestling career started, I had stuff that happened, and I kind of got off my path. But when I first started, I had the same mindset as you, man. I dedicated my life to this. I was going to the gym every day. It's all I wanted to do. I didn't want a girlfriend. I didn't want even friends in wrestling. I wasn't trying to be friends with anybody. I wasn't trying to date any of the girls there. And some people took it the wrong way, but I was just looking at the bigger picture. This is all I ever wanted to do, man. I wanted to make right for my family and everything. Mm-hmm. And, being friends and having a girlfriend, that wasn't going to get me to my goal. And, I kind of steered away from that, and got caught up in other stuff. But I had that same mindset, man. Mm-hmm. It's just a good mindset to have, I feel like.
Yeah, at the time I had the mindset. Now, once I learned to better balance my career in pro wrestling, and if I'm dating somebody, they'll have to understand if it gets serious that, listen, this is what I do, this is my love, and this is my passion. I've worked too hard. I'm not giving this up for anything or anyone. And as long as they understand that, we'll be good. But let's move right along. Dating is dating. But yeah, just that dedication is what not a lot of people have in pro wrestling today. They say they want to be there, and they do the least to get around. It's just, let me coast around. I'm a name. You see me in the ring. You see me on TV or whatever. That's not enough. You want to be good at what you do. You want to be good at your craft. You practice. And even if you are a veteran, still practice. There's no such thing as too much practice. That's what I practice every single day for what I do. There's not a day that goes past. I can promise you that. Whether I practice for 5 minutes or 5 hours.
I always look at a guy who was big when we were around. Mm-hmm. He was a guy who helped train me. And he was just a guy from day one. I could tell this guy had it, but it was the weird thing because he kind of gave up on his dream. It was Louis the Punisher Martinez. Mm-hmm. I wrestled my first match. You announced him. I think you announced that match. I was tag teaming the Nigerian Nightmares. And he was just a guy who, you looked at him, you're like, why isn't this guy in WWE? And he was getting older. And wrestling business could put you down. He had some chances, and he blew them younger in his career. And he just said, he kind of just moved on in his life. Mm-hmm. And then out of nowhere, something snapped, and he just said, I'm going to give this one more chance. And he dedicated everything to it. And what happened?
He's in
WWE now.
When I first saw him at the Monster Factory, I was an instant fan of the Legion of Anarchy. And
he's the best person out there.
Man, future champion right there.
He's the greatest, man. He's the greatest in the ring, out of the ring. He's a class act.
It's just that tag team that they had. You could see something special in it. It wasn't even a question. It was just how long is it going to take for them to get to the big time? Because you just knew they were. He had that look. They had that way they wrestled in the ring, that chemistry. It's just amazing. And now he's there, and I'm just like, wow, I'm going to be there one day. It's just all in good time.
He was there, tag teaming with the Grammy Award winner, selling out tours
Oh,
on WrestleMania.
Dude, and you remember I was there when I remember when I first got into the Monster Factory, they were filming this reality show. It was Larry's comeback, and they brought in some new students like me, and they were doing this reality show. It was supposed to be a big deal, and I was part of it, so they took me down to Atlantic City to the strip club Stilettos.
Okay.
Louise ran it, so that's why he didn't have time to really train. He was running these strip clubs and managing. His family had a company. He was a hard-working man, so he didn't have time for the gym. We went down there, and we did a skit where it was like 10 in the morning on a Tuesday, and I'm sitting in there. I pop open a beer. I don't care. I'm a nut at the time. And we had a stripper in there, and she's on stage dancing, and I'm throwing ones at her. Then I go to get on stage. It was a skit. As soon as I get on stage, Martinez, who's the bouncer, comes over, grabs me, and we both turn and look at the cameras, and they introduce us.
Okay.
And I just remember them days. Like, he was just a bouncer in Atlantic City, and now he's like WrestleMania, Bad Bunny.
That Luis the Punisher Martinez, or Damian Priest as he's now called, he is the definition of if you put hard work into your career and really stay dedicated, don't question it, you can make it. And that just further inspired me, seeing him getting his tryout. Same with Macklin.
Yes.
You know, Tommy Macklin. Seeing them get there, I'm like, they can do it, I can do it.
These were all guys we trained with. Me and Tommy started the same day. And it's like, these guys deserve it. I never got people like, when they got jealous of like people. I was so happy seeing these guys. Me personally, like, yeah, there's a little bit where I was like, man, that could have been me. But, you know, at the end of the day, they deserve it. I've never been. It was almost like me making it. Seeing a guy that we spent hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours with these guys training, and seeing them make it, I kind of felt a little bit of me made it, and I was just so happy, man. The more they do, it's just awesome.
Got to be a part of that journey, and that's the biggest thing. You're a part of the journey, and then it's now they're on a national stage. You know, 10 years ago when almost 10 years ago when we all were starting together, it's like, where did you see yourself in 10 years? Did he see himself in WWE? Did you see yourself there? You know, it's like there's no telling what time will bring. And that's a prime example of that.
Yeah, I think with Damian Priest, anybody's not familiar, his name's Damian Priest. The thing with him, man, one thing, a dream deferred is not a dream denied. He was a guy, like I said, he told us, he's like, I missed my opportunity. He kind of came to the realization that he missed his opportunity in his head. He was older, he had life going on, he just didn't have the time to dedicate to this. And I guess just, I don't know what snapped in him, but he's like, I'm going to give this one more chance, man. So if you get knocked down, if something happens in life, whatever happens, you get knocked off that path, man, Damian Priest is a perfect example. He's a guy who got back on that horse when he even thought he was done. And now he's one of the greatest in the world. He's a superstar. He didn't make it. He's killing it. He's the best. I love him.
He's kicking butt on a national stage, and it's like he's so freaking athletic. He's as great as he was in Monster Factory and all the other independent shows. He's just millions of times better. Like, just seeing him in the ring, like anytime I hear his music, I'm like, oh, something's about to go down. I just like, it's just amazing. And man, like, listen, hey, you could do it. You could be there. I could see you all as the main event at WrestleMania, me in the middle announcing you both.
Man, I was just happy for opportunity I got to be around guys like you, Larry Sharp, man, and there were some scumbags I didn't get along with, but the majority of people were good people. Even Tommy, Steve, you know, they change their names all the time. Steve Cutler, Tommy Macklin.
And now I think he's Steve Macklin.
Steve Macklin?
Yeah.
Okay.
An Impact.
But now you did this. You got big in this wrestling thing. That's where we met. You got big in this. But that's not where you got that big gold belt on your shoulder, man.
This whole thing right here. Y'all see this right now? This.
Our producer Jamie wants to wrestle you for it.
Hey, come on. What are you doing? So this was from, as people can tell, the WWE 2K $1 Million Challenge, and it was a video game tournament on WWE 2K19 back in 2019. The game released, however, in October of 2018. With that being said, what the requirements were, you cut a promo stating why you should be in the tournament.
It was a tournament by WWE?
WWE and 2K Games.
Right,
WWE 2K Games and WWE, yep. And they basically said, cut a promo stating why you should be in the tournament, why you're going to win. And the moment the damn game came out, I went and did the little challenge. You had to do a challenge tower, beat that in the game. Once you're successful, you cut your promo and submit it. Did that, and I think I did about 20 or 30 takes because I wanted it to be perfect. I was calling around people left and right in the wrestling world. What should I do this? What should I do now? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I got some interesting advice. A lot of people said you should have a calmer tone. And I'm like, that doesn't work for me, a calmer tone. I probably wouldn't have gotten, picked. I wouldn't have gotten chosen if I did that. So I went with my gut. And what I thought to do is use taglines from each of the games from 2K14 up till now, whatever the slogan of the game was within my promo. And then when we got there in Brooklyn, New York, WrestleMania 35 weekend, I was so ready for it.
Hold up. How did you get... I know, but
yeah, go ahead.
How did you get to WrestleMania? So did they pick a certain amount of people? Was there
4 people in the world?
So they picked 4 people in the world, people from all over the world, and they brought you to WrestleMania in Brooklyn?
Out of hundreds of thousands of millions.
Just off the promo.
Yeah, it's based off the promo. Like, you have to complete the actual tower, but once once you're qualified doing that, you just submit it, and it's the best promos that get picked. And I was one of them initially when I was featured as, hey, do you think the Golden Voice can strike gold in $1 million challenge? Who knows? We'll find out. They were just kind of posting potential, combatants in the tournament. And then when they chose me, I was like, I knew it. I damn well knew it. Like, from the moment they announced in June of 2018, the 2K19 $1 million challenge, I said, I'm going to be in it. I'm going to win it. It's not a question of how good whoever I'm facing is. That's with all due respect to them, I am the best at WWE 2K simulation video games. And there's no question about it. You want some? By all means, come get some. And it's not to necessarily paraphrase John Cena. I'm just saying, for all the naysayers and people who want to talk trash, saying I played like this or I played like that, I played to win. Your promos weren't good enough. Mine was. I worked my ass off to get what I needed and what I wanted out of life. I changed my life. You should do the same and stop hating on people. That's what I got to say.
Or come fight them in the Toxic Radio studio if you want the belt.
By all means. You catch this fade if you want.
Catch it if you want, man. I got his back. But I remember watching it, man, and I got out of wrestling, but I'm still friends with you on social media, kept in touch, followed you. I remember seeing it. I saw your promo, and then I saw WWE was actually pushing it a little. They did the thing before. I think they officially chose you, and I was just like, this is him. He was meant for this. I remember watching it, and when you won, I was like telling people I had no idea what I was talking about. I was with a girl I was dating at the time and her kids, and I was like, yeah, my man, I was going nuts. You went out there, you played the 4 other people. You won the first, it was the semifinals you won?
Yeah, the semifinals were with the other participants.
And you beat you won that out of the 4. You were the last one chosen?
Completely wiped them out.
So you were the number 1 left in the world. And then it was for $1 million, but they didn't give you the $1 million for just doing that. How did you have to win the $1 million? Tell us.
It was literally just that. You submit your promo. If it gets picked, if you're among one of the 4 picked, then you face them in the semifinals and all that. But what I didn't know, but I was guessing, they had us, as they naturally did, cut a second promo when we got there. There was no way they were going to do something like that and let the first promo be the only thing we did. So they bring us into this room. They have all the lights set up, naturally like they would, and they wanted me to go first. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go first. It's not because I'm not going to do a good promo. I don't want people trying to copy off of what I'm doing or bring that same energy. So they said, no, come on, just do it. So I went first, and my friend Troy told me, you should have seen the look on their faces. They were like, we have to follow that. Because I'm coming in there, I'm in my gold suit, I'm ready. I came prepared to win and to entertain. That's what WWE is about, to entertain, and that's what I was there to do. And a lot of people hated he got picked because he works there. Newsflash, I don't work there. I want to work there, but I don't. I got to earn my way just like everybody else. So the $1 million challenge, it was so much fun. I got to meet so many people. The Miz was my coach in the tournament, so that was a lot of fun. And while I couldn't personally talk trash, due to the rules of the tournament, he was able to do it for me. So you just saw it in my facial expressions.
That's awesome, man. How was it playing? Now you had to beat AJ Styles to win. Was that just the
Okay, so
you knew you were gonna beat him, kind of.
Okay, so let me explain it like this. AJ Styles is a, no pun intended, phenomenal gamer. He's a fantastic gamer. He is a fan of, to my knowledge, of more so the old school wrestling games, which is fine. I'm a fan of old school and new school. It doesn't matter to me. I never stopped playing. I treated AJ as just like I treated the other semifinalists. They can be as good as me or better. It didn't matter, though, because I was still going to win. You can be phenomenal, but like I said, I am golden, and nothing trumps that. Nothing.
And you won. You won. That's why you got the belt. That's why you had the check that said $1 million.
The match wasn't even 5 minutes.
It was right. Was it the day of WrestleMania or day before?
It was on NXT TakeOver pre-show. WrestleMania weekend in Brooklyn, New York. It was on Fox Sports Network.
We had the Barclays Center.
Yep, Barclays Center, and being backstage, just walking past everybody as they're leading me there. They lead me to gorilla position. I sit down. And for some reason, I did not see Triple H just casually sitting there in the corner cutting a promo for the show that night. And I'm just sitting there like, this is not happening. There's no way I'm sitting across from the COO of WWE. Now, while I didn't have an opportunity to like really pick his mind and talk, came over, congratulated me, shook my hand. And then they asked me, what music do you want to come out to? Who doesn't want to hear that and we're live on a WWE pre-show, TakeOver pre-show? Like, this is freaking amazing. So, of course, I naturally chose Miz because he's who coached me to victory. And
now, was that who you were in the game?
No, I chose Brock Lesnar. And let me tell everybody why I chose Brock Lesnar. Not to say that I'm a fan or not a fan. The moveset that he has on the game allows you to win. I fought the way. What does Brock Lesnar do in the ring? He suplexes and tosses people. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's what I did. I did what was necessary to win. I didn't cheat. I didn't glitch. I just did enough to get past and win. I didn't have time to put on a good match or a long match. That's how you lose, and that's how you get defeated. Not me.
Now, who was AJ Styles? Was he AJ Styles?
He had to be himself, yeah. Okay. I even told him, you can put the gold AJ Styles. It has like 100 overall, the most powerful character in the game. Go ahead, put him on there. I'll still beat him, just so he has every advantage. And AJ Styles, if you're listening, let me tell you right now.
He probably is.
I beat you in a $2K million challenge back in 2019, and I am still your then, now, and forever WWE 2K Games undisputed $1 million world champion. And if you want another shot at this championship, I am all too happy because 2K22 releases this fall. You want a piece? Come get some, AJ, because guess what? Phenomenal will never be enough.
Oh, man. I'm just hearing this story, man. I still got so much pride for you. How was it? Like, you're somebody who grew up just loving this, and now you're at WrestleMania. That's the biggest event. That's the Super Bowl of wrestling. Man. And you're with guys like The Miz who you just adored. These guys were guys who
class acts
where you always wanted to go. And now you're on the stage. When you played that game, there was fans chanting you on, and you won. The $1 million was probably the secondary actually just getting the chance.
That
your hard work got you there. It wasn't just everything you did, all them little pieces from when Aaron found you doing that part, all that stuff led. I feel like everything always happens for a reason. Every little step you did, every little thing led up to you getting that goofy gold belt over there that I wish I had.
Bam, right there. Like, we were talking about it before we went on the air, and it makes me sad that Aaron couldn't have been there. You know, God rest his soul. We talked about it so much about me getting to WWE. He's like, you're gonna get there. Just be patient. As frustrated as I would get, and I'd be ready to quit at times. Like, we all go through those times, I think. And then when I heard of his passing, like, I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop pro wrestling because it was like, that was my guy. That was the man I could look to for advice all the time, no matter what. He was unbiased, and he just had a love for pro wrestling like I've never seen before. And you know, just before he passed, we talked, and he said, "Promise me one thing." And he didn't tell me. I didn't know he was sick at the time. He told me, "Just don't quit." And that's I haven't, and I won't. I'm going to get there, and I know part of that $1 million challenge was Aaron. That was him just smiling down on me, and it's like, listen, there's the diamond at the end of that tunnel. Just keep with it. So I love him, and may he rest in peace.
Yeah. So you won the what, 2019 was it?
2019. Yep.
And Aaron died, was it 2017?
2000. I believe it was 2017.
It was
before. It was
like
like a couple years before.
That must have, because I just know he would do the same thing. Mm-hmm. He had the same mentorship he did to you towards me. I remember I was like you coming in. You know, there's a lot of politics with wrestling. I remember days where I wanted to crack somebody in the head, or I just got fed up with guys. You know, we're at the Monster Factory, and I before I crack somebody in the face, Aaron pulled me to the side. He's like, I know how you're feeling, man. I understand. He was the guy who probably saved a lot of people and me from a lot of
heartache.
he really did, man. He was the only person, because I just respected him so much, and he was one of the only guys. He was the only guy who could talk me off the ledge when I was about to, go crack Danny Cage or somebody in the face. Just
Smooth talker. Like, he could talk you down over pretty much anything.
Yeah, he was, man. So that must have been awesome. You were doing this kind of in his memory. How was that? Were you thinking about him when you won that? When you had that $1 million check? When you made it to that?
I was, and it was just like there was no option. I losing wasn't an option. I wanted to make Aaron proud. I wanted to make my friends, my family, my supporters proud. And for the amazing opportunity that WWE and 2K afforded to 4 people in the world, I can never thank them enough. They changed my life, because just a couple weeks before the tournament, I was almost homeless. House that I was in was going up for sheriff's sale at the time, and it was like if I didn't get the opportunity that I did, I would have been kind of screwed. And that's life, not to say here or there, but a lot of people cut promos for that tournament saying they should be picked because they're in these situations. That's not the reason you should be picked. You should be picked because your promo was good, not because you want sympathy. And WWE saved me, to say the least, in 2K games. That challenge, that tournament saved me, and all the people that weekend treated me so well, treated everyone so well. They're all really great folks.
So, and our listeners, they didn't just hear that. Stephan Benson, the guy who gave his whole life to wrestling, announcing, he was a week away from homeless. Basically, it sounds like you were going to be homeless. A week later, you won $1 million from WWE, the company you gave everything to, company you dreamt to be in. A lot of people probably told you, grow up, stop doing that. It's never going to amount to anything. And there you are, about to be homeless, and your dream, WWE came, and all that hard work paid off, man. You were literally on the doorstep of homelessness, and then you got $1 million and recognized. Not even $1 million, just being recognized for all your hard work.
See, the thing is, with the whole situation with the house, when, about to be homeless, I was calling friends, family members. And at the same time, I didn't want to reach out to them. I wanted to do it on my own. And it's not a fact of being proud. It's just a fact of being a man, proving to yourself that you can do it. And I was just like, I'm saved. I got a house. I can pay off my bills. Like, people give WWE a bad rap. Or video game companies a bad rap at times. No, they do great things for people. You be good to them, they'll be good to you.
And how much was your phone ringing after you won that $1 million?
I had a cousin of mine that I'd never met. Let's just go there. I had a cousin of mine that I'd never met. Hey, yo, cuz, how about loaning me $50K so I can pay off these student loans? And I don't know what language is acceptable on this podcast.
Anything you want.
Okay, I said, bitch, please. I don't know you like that, blood or not. Blood is not always thicker than water, I can tell you that. But it's the fact that they have the audacity to just casually inbox me, not hello, not how you doing. Let me get some money. Let me get some of that. I'm like, no, I worked hard for this, and I'm not screwing it up. So, but yeah, people came out of the woodwork like roaches. Like, I've never had so many calls. And then, we were speaking of dating a little earlier. I'd asked somebody out 2 months prior to that tournament on a date. They responded to me literally ironically, the week that I won it. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. Now you're interested? And they're commenting, of course, on all the, tournament posts. People were really fake. That was probably one of the unfortunate cons of of winning, is fake people coming in your life and trying to use you.
So, we hit your pinnacle, man. Just at this point, man, you got a lot of greater things ahead of you. You won $1 million in WWE. But I was there when you started, man. Our show's all about people who overcome stuff. One of the things, I've talked to you, and I never brought up to you, one thing that stuck out that I respect you so much for, when I first met you, around the time we first met, I remember you coming into the locker room, and I was in there, and you brought us all together. And you told us you wanted to tell us something. I'm thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? It was like one of my first matches. I was like, this guy wants to give us a pep talk, or what's he trying to do? And we go in there, and you came out to us. You told us you were gay, and I just felt like, I was like, wait, this guy think we weren't going to accept him? And I just felt like everybody in that room accepted you. Just
they did.
The strength you had to do that. All I'm thinking is, come on, let's go. I don't care what he's still my friend. I love this guy.
I guess because there's such a stigma around, they're gay, they want me. Like, no, I just want to work and enjoy my career. But I thought that I wouldn't necessarily be hired anywhere else if I came out as gay. And so for a while, like, though I was out to family and friends, I kept it to myself professionally.
Right.
And I talked to Danny Cage at the Monster Factory, and that's, you know, who brought me in front of you all, because I was scared. Like, you could tell my face. I was very scared. And y'all accepted me and made me family. And I haven't looked back, and I can't thank y'all enough for just it wasn't even a factor, you know, and I thank y'all for that.
The strength that took, man, because, yeah, I know, man, it happens, unfortunately, especially in professional wrestling. It's this macho world, and, you know, people they're just stupid, and they do have that, oh, I don't want this guy, you know, I'm in the locker room, and for you to do that, man, it's just something that stuck out to me. I always thought it was awesome, and I respect you so much for that.
Thank you.
That must have been just emotions for you, actually, you know, happy, scared, finally being yourself, everybody accepted you good. How was that being a ring announcer? I never had any issue with anybody as far as that was concerned. You know, I never not get hired somewhere because of my sexual orientation. And but this also ties into, you know, obviously I talk a lot about WWE. One of my main goals, is to be a ring announcer there, is to be the first gay black ring announcer in WWE. But not only the first gay black ring announcer, a good ring announcer. You know, they bring in a lot of people for ring announcing. Some have been good, some have been hit or miss. And I want to be that household name. Like, you have your Michael Buffer, you have your Tony Tillman, your Howard Finkel, your Lillian Garcia, and so on. Your Bruce Buffers and all that, Michael Buffers. I want people to be like, that's the golden voice, Stephan Benson. We want him for our boxing show. We want him for our mixed martial arts show. We want him for our wrestling, our corporate event. Don't matter what it is, I'll announce it. You could eat a bowl of cereal, I'll announce it. Order something from McDonald's, I will announce it.
How does eating a bowl of cereal go when you're announcing it?
Ladies and gentlemen, eating a extremely large bowl of cereal. It is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He is John Morrison. Something like that.
Now I want to eat a bowl of cereal.
I'm starving, man. Starving for hope.
He was one of the first people who gave me an opportunity to announce them.
I feel like I'm eating a big bowl of hope right now, man. Your story, anybody listen to our whole show, like I told you, man, we're not a wrestling. We have some wrestlers on, but we're just a show about hope, man. I just always thought your story, anybody out there who might be scared about coming out of, any person who, you know, I'm a white straight male, but I love diversity, man. I hate anybody who bullies anybody, man. I'm the kind of guy who always, my whole life, stood up for anybody, regardless, race, sex, anything, man. And I just think your story, people need to hear it, and it can inspire younger people out there, older people, whoever, who, you know, you were true to yourself, man, and look where it got you, man. You said were you a little shocked how accepting people were?
I was, because, you know, you don't know how people are. You know, everybody has their feelings about it. Some people can be really nasty, and I've had people outside of the wrestling world be really nasty to me about it. It's another hit or miss thing. It's another thing with hit or miss. You don't know.
I'm sure you had to deal with like a lot of internet trolls and stuff like that after you won.
After I won the tournament, yeah, people talking trash. You only won because this. You work for them, all that. You know, because they'd seen the things that I've done for WWE, but it was nothing official. I don't work for WWE, never have. I just went to their events, purchased a ticket like everybody else, and hope to get an opportunity. I never had a problem speaking up. And if I can give any advice to somebody that wants to make it in the world pro wrestling, doesn't matter if it's as a wrestler, manager, announcer, whatever, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to ask for that opportunity. Always practice. Practice makes perfect. Don't think that you're too good, that you don't need to practice, because that's when you screw up, and that's when you get fired or don't get those opportunities that you want. You're going to cry at times. You're going to have those lonely, frustrated days where you're just like, I'm never going to make it. You're going to. If you put your mind to it and you're truly dedicated and love what you do, you will make it. Let me be a prime example. Look where I've gotten, and I'm not done yet. You know, the 2K Challenge, WWE, they're all great, but I have bigger and better things I want to do. It's not just pro wrestling related. It could be movies. It could be commercials, you know, and just building up my own brand and getting opportunities like being on this awesome podcast and you all letting me tell my story. Like, this in itself is an honor and a privilege. And I really thank you guys for having me here.
Man, thank you for coming. Now, we talked about how you won the million. You got a chance to go to WWE and be recognized, all that hard work. You call that probably one of the highlights. And, at Hunger for Hope, like I said, we also like to share the moments that we weren't so proud. So if that was your highlight, was there one moment where you just said, maybe this isn't for me, or you messed up, or you did something you just weren't proud of, or you just had some obstacle? Was there ever a moment you said, maybe them doubters were right? Maybe a gay black guy announcing, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't belong here. Was there ever a time where you doubted yourself?
Because I've had my times where I was like, they're never going to hire me. It's not me doubting myself. It just, again, it's kind of like you got to know somebody. And it's a lot of politics, as we know, involved in pro wrestling. So I never thought, because I was gay or black, that once I had come out at that point, especially places like WWE or Impact or anywhere, would deny me a job, because I never thought that. I was just like, maybe I'm just not what they're looking for at this time, and I need to change myself up enough in a way that's attractive to them for them to give me another opportunity. Because I've had an audition and interview before. I announced Mr. Chris Jericho at WrestleMania Access. Didn't expect anything from that. I went and walked around, and then they sent the producers after me. And, while nothing ultimately came of it, it's the fact that I at least got to go up to Connecticut and have that opportunity to walk through those doors. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
Right.
So,
was there ever a moment where you said, where you got looked over for something, and you said, maybe I got looked over not because of my talent, maybe it was something else, maybe it was because of this, or the color, or my skin, or my sexuality? Was there ever a time you felt?
There are plenty of times that I felt I've been looked over. Let's jump on a WWE subject for a second. All the ring announcers that they've hired that have come and gone. Some have been mainstays. We have Tony Chimmels, Howard Finkel, God rest his soul, Lillian Garcia, Greg Hamilton on SmackDown and what have you, and Justin Roberts that was formerly there. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're hiring all these backstage, interviewers, and I'm right here. I've been doing this for years, and I don't say this in any type of negative way. I'm just as hungry. I want it. I'm going to continue to show up at these events, be respectful, show you all my craft and what I do, and until I get that opportunity. And yeah, there are many different ways to go about it. Put an application. I've done that. I've done an application, but it's like, what do you do in the meantime? Do you sit around, with your hands under your legs, not doing anything? No. You go out there and you take what you want in life. You get what you want. And while it may take a little longer than you may like, it is so much sweeter when you finally get it. And that first milestone, the first super major milestone, was the 2K challenge. I've even been in the WWE ring before and gotten the opportunity to announce, a couple wrestlers.
So basically what I get out of your story, you didn't, even if they were going to maybe not give you a job, because you were going to say, in your mind, you were like, I'm going to be so good, it doesn't matter who I am. If they don't like me because of this, I'm going to be so good, they're going to have no choice but to pick me. I feel like that's how, instead of, you had every right, man, sometimes to, I can't live in your shoes, man. I haven't experienced that, and I know that. But as I could see, like, you had every right to say, maybe, F this, forget this, I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, fuck these people. But you didn't, man. You stayed going when you had every right to maybe question it.
I've had some, as I admit, some very frustrating moments where I wanted to quit. I didn't, because it's not in my nature to quit. I may say it, and, we could be on the phone, I say it, and then I hang up. And you're like, man, he's really done. As much as I've said it, I'm never truly going to quit. This is what we're made to do. This is what I'm made to do. And I have a gift, and I want to share it with the world. And that's what I'm going to do. I want to give everybody, as this podcast is called, hope. I want to give them hope that they can make it where they want to, as long as they put their mind to it.
It's funny you bring that up. I'm sitting here, I'm reading stuff in the chat room. I know what kind of person you are. I don't bring in, I'm really picky with bringing the guests I bring on. We have somebody watching this show, man, and this just sums you up. Chris Mack's his name. He said, Stephan is the nicest guy ever. I'm a guy in a wheelchair. He approached me and said hello to me. He treated me good when others had looked over me and looked past me. He is a class act. Chris, thank you for tuning in, man.
Thank you for that, Chris.
That just puts you in,
I remember
that's Stephan Benson for you.
I met Chris Mack. I met him at WrestleMania Access back in 2012, and just a genuinely good guy. We just stood there, had a conversation, and we're friends to this day. And I'm honored to be his friend, and to have met him, and to meet the other people that I've met. And nobody should treat anybody any type of way. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's the way I was always taught, and that's the way I always handle life, and that's what I'll teach my kids whenever I have kids.
Yeah, that was like, for me, getting into wrestling. That was the craziest part. When I realized it early on in my career, when like somebody first asked for an autograph, or I saw how kids reacted. I was nobody yet, but I was just starting. I had a lot of hype, and I saw how I could change somebody's life that I never met. Mm-hmm. That was, regardless of everything that happened in my career, that was like the greatest moment, knowing that. So I would do anything for even with Hunger for Hope, even before this, man. Just knowing you could affect a guy like Chris's life, man. This is what, 2012? Now he's here watching your show, man. That has to affect you somehow, knowing you had such an effect on this guy's life back in 2012.
It does, and it's like, and then situations where people remember it. I remembered it, and we talk periodically and everything like that. It makes you feel good, and it makes you happy that you can make a positive influence in someone's life. And genuine, not because you are in front of a camera or you feel you need to. You do it because that's who you are as a person. And anybody I've ever met who I've shaken hands with, taken pictures with, I appreciate you. It's a gift, because without fans, we're not here. We don't exist.
Dave Baker says, class act. That sums up Stephan.
Dave Baker's a good guy. I met him when he worked at AMC with one of my best friends, and he heard how I do my wrestling parties once a month, and we instantly became really cool, and we talk about wrestling all the time. He sends me inbox messages with him commentating over various wrestling events, and he's extremely talented as a commentator. He's somebody that people should look at. There's just so much unnoticed talent in this world, and people just don't realize, especially in the world of pro wrestling. You get passed over, and some people think nothing of it, but you gotta keep at it. You gotta keep at it.
So, man, we still got a couple minutes, but
absolutely,
your story is definitely an inspiring one. But for anybody out there, man, say if there's somebody out there and they're scared about coming out, they're scared about following their dreams, regardless if they look like, if they don't, anybody who's sitting at home and they're just scared to be who they are, to go after a dream that people say they shouldn't, or to do you have anything to say to these people, Stephan?
For anybody wanting to start out or just starting out on their career, it's scary. It is a scary journey. Just because I'm this, kind of over the top personality, I wasn't always that way. Like I was always out there, but it's like it took a minute to get used to it. Don't let things backfiring discourage you and dissuade you from your path. Keep on that path. Just be passionate. Love it. You need to reach out to me. Reach out to me. Maybe I can give you some words of encouragement, some advice. As Aaron Gainey taught me when he started me, he said, all I ask is that you reach back and help the next person. And if I can, if it's within my power, I'd be glad to help anybody that I can. If it's something if it's possible, but you have to have a passion for what you do. Don't just say you want to do something, because I don't want to. How do I explain this? You don't help everybody can't be helped. And I don't mean that in a negative way. There have been people I've tried to help in the pro wrestling world who've done nothing with it. And if you want to do this, respect the pro wrestling world, train, and respect everybody within that. It's going to be hard. There's no handouts. We know that. There are no handouts. Donnie worked his ass off in the pro wrestling world. That's why anytime he come out, I would go out of my way to make sure I give him a bomb-ass introduction every time, because y'all are putting your lives on the line. So if you're getting involved in the pro wrestling world, that's what pro wrestling is about, you, pro wrestlers. And I just want to be a small part of that. You want to get in pro wrestling, you want to be a small part of that, do it. But do it because you love it, not because you want to be seen. That's what I can suggest for people. And when you want to, and as far as coming out, that's a scary thing. I'll say not everyone's going to accept you. I'm not going to lie to you. Not everyone accepts me, and that's fine. That's life. I say screw those people. They're just naive and they don't know any better. I've had some scary moments, but know that I love you, I accept you, and you can do whatever you want if you set your mind to it. And if you're scared about coming out, like I said, reach out to me, and we'll talk.
Now, you awesome stuff, man. I just think so highly of it. I feel like you're somebody who can really help people out there. That's what our show's all about, man. Our show's about that person, kind of where I was after my wrestling and my brother died, man. It's no secret I went into a dark place. And I just made Hungry for Hope. Same thing with Tim. We were in a dark space, and we just wish we had somebody who could come out. So we made this network, and we bring in these great people like you, so nobody has to feel that feeling we felt when we were at our lowest, man. And there's so many people out there. And that you say they can connect with you. How can people follow you on social media if they want the golden voice of professional wrestling?
Just know that I generally do follow back. So on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Real Golden Voice. Not boys, Real Golden Voice. For all those wanting to
Is there a
follow me.
fake golden voice out there?
Somebody created a page trying to imitate me, and I had it taken down. I was like, I'm flattered, but
We'll go
damn.
smack that jabroni.
Exactly. So that's where you can find me on social media and on YouTube, Golden Talk TV, and you can follow me on Twitch at the Golden Gamer Network. We do monthly wrestling shows for Elite Wrestling Championships, and we appreciate all the support, and I appreciate the opportunity. Again, being on this show, this is a treat.
Now, Stephan, man, we mentioned hope earlier. Our show's all about hope. I just talked about how the show started. Hungry for Hope. What does hope mean to the golden voice of professional wrestling, Stephan Benson?
Hope is a chance to leave your mark in history, leave your mark in life. Hope is being better than you ever thought possible. Despite all the naysayers, all the setbacks, it's going to happen. That's life. Hope is not giving up. Hope is continuing. Hope is working even harder when someone tells you no, or when a door supposedly closes. No door ever closes. No is not no. It's just not right now. Understand that. If you understand that, you will do fine in life, whether it's pro wrestling, or you're getting into Hollywood, or you're singing or rapping. It doesn't matter what you're doing. As long as you stay dedicated, you will achieve it. Don't worry about the naysayers. Trust me, I've had so many people tell me, no, you're not going to do this. You're not going to make it. No, you will. Know that we here at Hungry for Hope Podcast, we believe in you, and you got to believe in yourself. That's the most important thing of all. Believe in yourself no matter what. And I said, reach out to me on social media. I respond to my DMs. Be respectful. That's all I say.
That's awesome. Now another heartfelt question. Now, Stephan, if somebody at home is they call themselves a professional wrestler, a professional ring announcer, they wear jeans, wrinkled shirts, they don't have proper training, they tell everybody they're a pro wrestler or announcer, and they pretend to be something. What do you have to say to that people? Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Get out of our business. Like you don't get to do that.
Get out of the
That's
business.
disrespectful, I would say, to the wrestling business, without a question. I understand. They say not everybody can afford a suit. I get that. It's called a thrift shop. It's not that hard. Goodwill. It's called
Hungry for Hope. We give suits out to the homeless. We'll give a suit out to you. Get your broke ass, wannabe wrestling ass, fake ass up here. We'll smack it and we'll give you a suit and we'll fit it for you.
Prime example, and I'll leave you on this. Never be afraid to ask for help. I did, and look where I got. Never be afraid to ask for opportunities. I did, and look where I got. It's not impossible, folks. It's just whether or not you truly want to do it.
And stop being a fraud, man. Just be yourself. There's so many jabronis.
Take off those old chucks.
And somebody just hit me up. They want to hear something, man. Your Harry Finkel impersonation? Am I saying it?
Howard Finkel, the best in the world.
Now, do you do an impersonation? I'm hearing things. Do you do an impersonation? I'm putting you on the spot.
No,
Want me to hold that for you?
It's never putting a golden voice on the spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Introducing first, the challenger from Greenwich, Connecticut, weighing 252 pounds. He is the World Wrestling Federation Champion, Triple H.
Oh, wait, I got one more.
Here is your winner and new World Wrestling Federation Champion.
There goes your Howard Finkel.
So you did that. Now, I got one more. Can I do a request?
Sure, what's that?
So we got a good friend. He's following the show. He has a show right on after us that we're taking up some of his time.
Okay.
But I don't care, Jamie. Gene, he does Wire to Wire Sports. They're a sports show. They're awesome. 3 guys. They come in here right after us. You're going to see them when you get out of the studio. So Wire to Wire Sports. They come on at 8:30 on Toxic Radio. They're a sports show. Let's see you announce them.
Okay, I need give me that name written down.
Wired
Sports Radio.
Wired to
Wire to Wire.
And they got a Facebook, and they're on Toxic Radio right after here. They're a sports show.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune in to Wire tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the #1 shows in the world, and you're missing out. Be there or be square. You'll have to excuse me.
You're excused, man. The messages are coming in. Somebody who doesn't know you, they're like, this sounds like a guy who has integrity. Proud to call him a friend. He's an inspiration. The epitome. I can't say words. Epitome. I can't still say. Of hope.
Let me give you one more introduction. Do we have time for it?
We got a minute.
Quick? I'll be quick. All right. I'll do Tony Chimmel.
I run the show.
Tony Chimmel, we all know who he is in WWE, one of my favorite WWE ring announcers of all time. So we all know about Edge. That introduction, I can do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Making his way to the ring from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, weighing in at 241 pounds, is the World Heavyweight Champion, the Rated R Superstar Edge. And that's Hungry for Hope podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Stephan, that was amazing, man. We're going to get out of here. You good?
I'm good.
I just want to thank you, man, personally, not even for coming on the show, just for being a good person, man. I've known you for so long. I'm so happy for you, man. You're somebody who deserves it. And you give so much hope to people. I hope you know that, man. Sometimes we don't know how many people we inspire with stuff we just don't even realize.
You're very right about it. I've had people walk up to me and just say thank you. You inspired me to do that, and I'm glad that I could be here and help. And if for anybody that I've given hope, I'm glad that I could be a small part of helping.
Thank you, man. Hungry for Hope Nation. Thank you for tuning in. Big time Tim Kudges, Donnie Hart. We're out of here. Make sure you tune in to Wire Sports, and don't forget, this show was dedicated to Aaron Gainey.
We love you,
the greatest man. We love you, Aaron. Man, we wouldn't be here without you. Have a good night, Hungry for Hope Nation.